Outer space. We live in an age of technology in which machines touch every part of our lives. It is not surprising that music has also been influenced by technology.
This was the first time we had Playground as a crew going to a new city outside of Vancouver.
It was great working in Edmonton. It was definitely noticeable. People are into music there.
It's always been a really self-supportive music scene where when a band plays, the other bands are there to see them.
Edmonton's always been like a hotbed that nobody really understands.
You'll find a plethora of bands from all different walks and genres that are all amazing and all willing to work together.
I think for live music, Edmonton pretty much kicks.
That's what I love about Edmonton the most, is the diversity of the scene.
Shout Out were kind of number one on the list.
They're just heads and tails different than anything we'd ever done before in a playground.
So I was really excited to see how we could make a playground with an electronic band.
I thought there was a lot more possibility.
I turned to electronic music mainly because I found I couldn't get the kinds of sounds I wanted with live players and ordinary instruments.
That's one of the first bands that I'd actually been kind of a little fan of.
It was an instant yes from us. In general, with our band, we're always looking for something other than just a regular bar show to play, something different.
Him and the band all wanted to write a new song. So I think that was advantageous, just in that it's not about reorchestrating and trying to figure out how the audience is going to fit in. From the first draft, they're able to think about how they're going to utilize them and sort of build around that.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with these things. Korg Monotron?
No.
They're these little like handheld battery powered analog synths that sound pretty cool.
Wow. Wow. If you give that to me as I'm walking into a space, I'm like, this is cool. I have no idea what this thing is, but I'm going to do something with it.
Do you have venues in mind yet?
We've just started to get that shortlist together. I've just seen an email come in from Aaron.
I guess the first thing that I'm trying to think of for a venue for Playground is that it's a venue that's not traditionally a music venue.
Really, we only had 2 days of pre-production in Edmonton before the show.
We had, I think, 3, maybe 4 venues lined up for our first pre-production trip to go out there and check out.
We are not doing well at keeping on time, especially since we pushed this meeting because we were running late.
How far away is it?
Can't be that far, let me look. I don't know what the hell we ever did before where there was iPhones. Google Maps.
Are you planning things out ahead of time, really?
Yeah.
What?
It feels like an itinerary.
We're just looking for something kind of quirky. You know, we didn't want something really clean and pretty even.
We waited outside the venue we ended up using, well, first time we went to go and look at it. And from the outside, it doesn't look like much.
Do we really want to even go here? Is it worth waiting for?
And I was kind of at the point of saying, guys, should we just call this off and choose one of the other venues?
It's amazing. I'm blown away for so many reasons.
Like we could come in and set up kind of later afternoon.
You can do the day before if you want.
Oh, wow.
You can do the day before and close up the day after.
It had a lot of space. There's just a lot going on in there.
This provides something added for sure, right? Just I don't know whether it's people on it or it is a camera track or we're landing a plane.
Seeing the sci-fi art in that venue sparked that idea to go with the lab and also to use that catwalk. I don't know if we would have even come up with the idea to have lab coats in that space.
A startling discovery is made. Anthology of the monster.
Greg and I went through a few ideas.
To fly through space.
What did we start with? So our initial thought was seeing a lot of wires everywhere.
It was going to be an experiment. Everybody in the audience were part of a big lab experiment and they were working together to create something.
I think there was a mad science theme at some point, in B-movie, sci-fi.
Cables connecting all these different sections and basically the climax of the song, this Frankenstein would rise.
Which seemed really exciting, and that's actually what we pitched to them.
We decided that maybe Frankenstein wasn't totally fitting with Shout Out and that dancers would be more appropriate. I was more worried about how was that going to play out on the night, like actually getting those takes and making people pay attention to something or react in a certain way. Like, was that going to be a little too intrusive?
It's a little bit a matter of experimentation, and if something works, run with it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. And also play with people's opacity. So like for some of the rehearsals, have a locked off shot and have them out of the frame and then in the frame. And so we can have people like flickering in and out.
There was a runway at the venue, and by putting people on there, we're kind of giving them this sense of importance that didn't seem to fit in with what Playground was, even though we wanted a concept piece. So we started to scale the idea back.
Scaling something back isn't necessarily due to laziness, or it's not necessarily not as good as something that's over the top.
But they're not very sexy looking. So,
Sexy is not that important.
this one is medium.
Yeah, can you show us what it's going to look like?
Can you play drums in that, do you think?
Oh yeah.
All day long.
So it's just a plain Jane apron.
It's an apron.
Yeah.
It's a little bit Texas Chainsaw Massacre, isn't it? Yeah, I do too.
Yes.
Okay, can we see what you have for gloves?
We help out. We like to participate. I think that's one of the reasons why we've grown. I always try and go to the zombie walks, and we participate in the art walk. And when somebody asks for help in different areas, we try and do what we can.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I could snorkel.
They do things like that.
How'd they go? Yeah, they look
Yeah,
good.
those look totally
Shout Out definitely seemed to really embrace the interactive part of it.
They had already recorded a demo by the time we had got out there and sort of walked us through and talked about what the collaboration was to be.
A huge driving force of the entire tune is going to be the people playing the toms.
Yeah.
We're only limited in that sense by how many toms we can come up with.
How many do you want?
Well, 20 minimum, but
The one thing. Okay.
So let's say 30. Let's say that's our goal.
the vocal part is going to be pretty important to the entire tune. This is the vocoder right here, this black thing right here.
Another challenging part of electronic music is working with sophisticated electronic equipment.
Reed and I were given the chore of going around and getting all the drums and all the sound stuff. We had our cargo van. So we first rolled up to one Long and McQuaid, and they had a few drums, so we cleaned them out. And then we went to this next one. There was a lot of hoping that no one else was doing something as crazy and stupid as we were, trying to get 60 drums.
That day in Edmonton started at like, I don't know, 7:30 a.m. or 7 a.m. and finished at 4 a.m.
We normally have a lot of volunteers.
And in Edmonton, we didn't. We just had our own team that we had brought on. That venue definitely required a lot of setup as far as getting the flow organized.
This is one of my favorite times of the day, just because right now we've got a room and a bunch of wires and cables and lights and about 300 drums. But in about 10 hours, it's going to be transformed into this place where people are going to be making music, having fun, drinking beer, and just joining together and doing something.
We changed everything about how our layout was in Edmonton. We had like quite a specific plan of where everything would go, all the drums, all the instruments, and we changed it in the course of an hour. When you see this now, Jem, the setup with all the drums and that, is it how you envisioned it?
No, but I think it can work for sure.
It can work.
Yeah, totally.
Honestly, until a couple hours before, we don't really know the capacity of the room and how many drums are going to fill the room and how exciting that's going to be to film.
Everything changed so much to the point where we were like, okay, we're going to make it work no matter what, capturing what happens, which is really the most important thing.
You definitely need to be flexible because who knows what's going to happen with light or with the sound, or if less people are coming or more people are coming, things are always going to change, I think, once you start getting stuff in the space.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Like, all the speakers are set up and they're working, and we're just waiting to get all the synths and and the rest of the drums in so we can figure out where we're going to place it all.
And my word, those guys have a lot of electronic equipment.
We did like a trial run the other night with six buddies that came down, and it sounded so huge already with 6 people. So 10 times that is just going to be ludicrous.
I thought it would be a little bit smaller scale. I honestly didn't think you guys could pull off finding 60 drums. We've never taught people how to play a song and had them do it. So I think it's going to be crazy.
We got about an hour and 15 minutes till doors.
This is going to be really big and loud, and I think it's going to be a pretty awesome moment for everybody involved. This song is actually a song that we wrote for this thing. We've never actually played it before at all, so we're going to as much as you, so don't worry about it. So, outer space sounds. Sound good? The 2 drummers, Brady and Clint, they're going to come in playing a pattern on the toms. And the pattern goes like this. You want to try it? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Nick was able to sort of get those parts going and could play ringmaster.
I'm a little surprised at how quickly people picked up the parts and how smoothly that whole process went.
I think it was really cool to see everyone in costumes. It's the first time we've done anything like that.
The words are, we're trying to keep it fairly simple here, so it's going to repeat 1,000,000 times, we're in it together. We're in it together. We're in it together.
One of my jobs on the night is right after people enter the space, they get a portrait taken, and then they talk to me, and I figure out where we're going to put them for the night. So the first thing I'm saying is, do you have any musical experience, or how's your rhythm, or do you sing in the shower, or things like that. And people were like very confused by that question. I think they thought they were like watching a band, but that really translated into sort of the magic that night.
Okay, this one is the one. This is for real. So we need absolute silence from everyone, including the theremin player.
The fact that the drummer like cut and made the wood blocks, like they really just went all out, and they spent a lot of time on it. So I think that they were an exceptional choice.
I thought tonight was fantastic. I've watched some of the playgrounds before, and this is as complex as I can imagine it ever getting. Like, their own band is so complex with the setup and the instruments and the wires, and then trying to like sustain a rhythm with that many people pounding drums. I saw a train wreck for a while, but man, it was fantastic.
I didn't really understand 80% of what the band did. It's incredibly complicated, and there's just machines and boards and plugs and wires everywhere. That was what really set it apart for being unique. It was the electronic music side of it and how they used that to play with a crowd.
Their music is actually quite elaborate, but it's not over the top. There's a lot of treats in their music for someone who's listening intently. So hopefully our video has some of that too.
It was kind of a heart-pounding moment the first time we actually really nailed it.
It was a really insane experience, really great.
Amazing. It was awesome. Like, I'm glad I got to play, participate, and just like to feel the community and then like make music together was amazing.
I play a great air drum, never played the real drums before, so this was a first. Yeah.
The fact that the guys wrote the whole new song just for this event, and its message was really all about community and everything like that. It was really very poignant, very inspiring.
I'm really, really glad that I kind of got involved with this. I didn't know if I was going to get in, but it was fantastic. Lots of fun. Like, holy mackerel.
These guys are on a whole nother level. So like the equipment that they brought is like interesting to like experience and see.
I didn't expect everyone to come together like that, but they did. Just leaves me with a happy, nice feeling. It's like such a positive and fun, amazing project.